Welcome to African Spiritual Resistance, where we explore African spirituality, its history,
and its use in our liberation through the African diaspora.
yesterday,
Today
today,
and
and
tomorrow.
tomorrow. All right. This is the episode we thought we were. Hold on 1 second. The baby was upset. This is the episode we thought we filmed last week. I mean, boy, we were teaching. I was goddamn preaching more than a Baptist pastor. Uh, but we looked. I looked at the. I looked at the screen and I said, "Oh my God, it's still saying go live." This was at 6:57, 3 minutes before we would have regularly ended the show. Like, oh man, this is crazy. So we're going to do the show that we should have done last week, that we tried to do last week. We're going to do that now. Greetings, everybody out there. Greetings, Eugene Mason.
Greetings, everybody. Happy traditional Isese a New Year.
Yes. So this is our New Year. Isese, remember, is a traditional way, continental African way of practicing Ifa, right? And so this is our New Year. And next week we'll bring you the reading of the New Year. Okay. But this week we're dealing with the history of African spirituality. Okay. Religion, spirituality, and myth is the narrative through which human beings understand the world. Religion, spirituality, and myth is the narrative through which human beings understand the world. Also, the way they understand themselves and their place in the universe. This narrative can be very unifying or divisive depending upon the circumstances involved. In our first episode, we defined religion and spirituality and discussed their differences. Now let's look at myth. Myths are stories that are based on tradition. Some may have factual origins while others are completely fictional. Either way, they serve a profound purpose in ancient and modern cultures. Myths are sacred tales that explain the world and man's experience, and they are as relevant to us today as they were to the ancients. Myths answer timeless questions and serve as a compass to each generation. The myths of heaven, for example, give people hope that by living a virtuous life, we can earn a better life in the hereafter. The subjects of myths reflect the universal concerns of people throughout history: birth, death, the afterlife, the origin of man and the world, good and evil, and the nature of man himself. A myth taps into a universal cultural narrative, the collective wisdom of human beings. An excellent illustration of the universality of these themes is that so many people who have had no contact with each other at all, and don't say, they're all descendants of Atlanteans. We dealt with spookism a couple episodes ago. These people have had no contact with each other at all, and they create myths that are remarkably similar. So, for example, cultures worldwide from the Middle East, so-called Middle East, to the distant mountains of South America have myths about great floods, virgin births, and the afterlife.
This universality has brought about remarkable similarities in spiritual and practices as well. For about 90 to 95 of human history, we human beings were nomadic hunters and gatherers. Anthropologists have made the assumption that most nomadic folks were animists. Do we know if that's true? We weren't back. We weren't. None of us was around during that time, so we can't be entirely sure. The word animus is the Latin word for soul life.
Animism.
The word animism is a Latin word for soul life. It is a belief that all things have a soul, plants, animals, and even inanimate objects. Many tribal people prayed to animal spirits and incorporated spirit animals and shamanistic rituals. Many animists see humans, plants, and animals on an equal footing. Hunters and gatherers living in a tribe may have seen themselves as equal to the animals they were trying to either hunt or make peace with. There is a Cherokee legend, the little deer, Awi Uzdi. In this story, a little deer tells the hunter that they must only hunt when necessary. They must pray for permission before they kill, and they must apologize after they have killed. This story is an example of the attitude that many indigenous people had in regards to their environment. Take only what you need. That's it. Just take only what you need. And be grateful to the animals and plants for what you get. I think we definitely we need to hear that really well. Trees were considered sacred by many ancient people and believed to be holy to be a host holy spirits of life. Spirits that provided human beings with fruit and shelter. This belief is in the sacredness of trees exists in Yoruba land, and one of those trees are called Iginle. That's the is considered a great tree, and it can be visited even to this day. The Druid rites in the sacred grove, as well as the Greek belief in the dryads, female tree spirit exists. Sacred trees and sacred oaks were widely venerated by the Germanic people before Christian times in an attempt to completely extinguish pagan practices in the region. Christian missionaries cut down the sacred tree, Donor's Oak, and used the wood to build a church. However, some of the Germanic tree tradition still exists in popular culture today. For for example, the Christmas tree. We all know about that. Water also contains powerful spirits. Hindus today still bathe themselves in the Ganges because they believe it is a sacred river. Millions of the Yoruba people today flock to the town of Oshobo, to the Oshun River, and it is widely believed that women desiring to give birth, they're asking for blessings, they are looking for love, they bathe in the Oshun River, they get pregnant as long as they're working at it. Whatever prayers they make, they come back the following year whenever those prayers are answered and give thanks. The Celts in Ireland had a strong belief in their sacred wells. This belief was so strong that many Irish wells to date are still considered sacred, but now they are associated with the saints. This tradition has also lived on in the belief in wishing wells. It is believed animism was first practiced around 100 BCE, before Common Era. Place of origin across the African continent, some specifically Central Africa.
Some say specifically Central Africa. Okay. Polytheism, calling someone's spiritual belief system a myth. We started off saying myth, but I just want to clarify this. Calling someone's spiritual belief system a myth nowadays is often met with animosity. So we use folklore. Imagine calling Christianity or Islam myths. Folks would be ready to throw hands. Some people on here will say it, the myth of Jesus, the myth of Moses, the myth of parting the Red Sea, the myth of so and so, Uh, you can do that. You can be as disrespectful as you want and call it being revolutionary or what have you. But, somebody could pop you in your mouth. and call that revolutionary. Okay, so just be very careful thinking it's suave, it's cool, it's up to insult people's traditions, right? I'm not a Christian. You don't see me insulting Christians. Even when Christians have insulted me, had a or what I believe, had a sister on the bus once. I'm reading 16 mythological stories. Myth, there it is. But that's catering to the Western world. The 16 mythological stories of the five, right? So reading that, sister looks over, back. She's sitting in front of me. She's looking back. I said, here we go. So I've seen it before. She says, reading the good word? I said, oh, yeah, great word. So, okay. Reading about the Lord? I said, oh, yes, reading about the Lord. I'm not going there with you. So she looks, Lord Jesus Christ? I said, oh, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. Said, you motherfucker. You reading this evil shit on this bus. First of all, she doesn't own Marta, so I can read whatever I want to on the bus. She ain't really got shit to say. But you reading that evil shit on the bus, motherfucker. She's cursing me out. Now, this is a person holding it down for Christianity, talking about I'm blaspheming. First of all, I'm not blaspheming because I'm not a Christian. I don't practice that tradition, that faith, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not blaspheming because I'm not a Christian. And never have been. Didn't step foot in the church from the time I was 12 years old. My mother gave me a choice of leaving the church and watching the food or going to church. I said, I'll watch the food every Sunday. So she knew her son was not, into that. So let me give him a way out. Right. I played that to the hilt. I said, oh my goodness, sister, you talking to me like that? You're a Christian. You're supposed to help me. People who do that, those are the least staunch Christians. They don't go to church. They don't do nothing. The ones that just snap off.
They
right.
in church.
Right, exactly. Those are the ones who go off on you, right? They're dealing with their own guilt. So, sister, you doing me like this? I didn't know Christians did this to people. So people on the Christians don't. You don't treat this man like that. They going off. The Christians going off on her. I was like, yeah, my job is done. They snapping off on her. She jumped her ass off the bus. I smiled at her as we're going by. She's like, F you. She's still going off. I said, she had a bad day. I got a great day because her own folks spanked her ass. I ain't have to.
Right.
Somebody said, is that why many wars have been about religion? Many wars have been about religion because, I have to just say the truth of that, Islam and Christianity and other religions too, in part, are wrapped up in capitalism. So those wars, these folks want power and land, influence. And so, like the Crusades, people say whatever the Crusades were. The Crusades was about getting land, resources, and power over the people. Okay. So you have many wars, and I think all wars, are fought on behalf of capitalism. But even Christianity has a "don't be a dick" rule, but far be it from the cherry pickers to follow that one. Yes, they do. They have a couple of in the Beatitudes that there are things that they tell you how you should act. Even treating people like you want to be treated, and it's several things in there. Even the simple when Jesus said, "You are all God's children of the Most High God." Well, if you're all God's, why are you treating God like a piece of shit? Because He doesn't practice the way you say He should practice. He's a God, right? So His practice is wrong, but yours is right. All of those kind of things. But that's in all traditions and religions, spirituality. There are people in the fire who will say so-and-so not doing it right. I think I told you, I was at an event. I had a big E-Day, so you can easily see it. This is a small one here. And that's another thing. Don't worry about if you got a big one or small one. That don't mean your level of power or nothing like that. So stop that bullshit too. But I had this woman grab my wrist. I'm at a Runoko Rashidi lecture and watching him, and she grabbed your E-Days on your right arm. I said, get the fuck away from me. Like, she gonna put her hands on me. But I don't care who she is. And if you're watching right now, I didn't give a fuck then, don't give a fuck now. You don't put your hands on me. I don't care what your title is. I don't care what your title is, except mama and daddy. My mama and daddy, they grab my wrist. I still be like, what you doing? My daddy's transition. But, Mom, what you doing? You all right? I still have to ask a question.
Just want to feel your pulse, baby.
Right, just one. I'm like, oh, okay, good. But she's talking about, God damn it, sit your ass. I'm like, Ma, for real? You treat me like this? And I leave. But anybody put their hands on me? Oh man, you're lucky that I don't just knock you out. So this is a woman. If it was a dude, I would beat his ass. I don't care what his title is. I wouldn't have cared. You beating up so-and-so. I don't give a damn. That's the mayor. I don't give a shit. He shouldn't have grabbed me. Okay. That was Jesus himself. Well, Jesus got knocked out. Jesus grabbed me. He should have took the wheel. Not took my wrist. So since it was a woman, she got a pass. Get the fuck away from me. She looked shocked. Because obviously she's supposed to be somebody. I don't give a fuck who you were. I didn't even ask nobody who it was. So you have that throughout traditions. You're always going to have assholes. You're always going to have that. Okay. And I prefer to call them assholes, not dickheads. Dickheads, just like pussy. Pussy is strong. People act like it's weak. Dickheads actually help to bring about life. We all really are lucky they were dickheads because that's why we're here. Asshole, well, we all need them too because we got to eliminate bullshit. But at least the asshole, well, the asshole's not eliminated. Yeah, we need the asshole too. We got to find another name for these muds because all these things are valuable. Your butthole is valuable. So we got to find something else. These people are just some old lame. Man, it's hard to describe them. Some people call them asshats. And that would be useless because if you put a hat on your ass, you put it in the wrong place. It's supposed to go up here. All right. Polytheism. So calling someone's spiritual belief system a myth nowadays is, it's insulting and it could be met with aggression or violence. Let's look at polytheism. Polytheism is broadly defined as a belief system with multiple gods. And the majority of the polytheistic systems around the world focus on a central pantheon of gods. Okay. In truth, though, most polytheistic religions believe in one God. You say, they believe in a bunch of gods, right? If you're talking about, gods as far as us being gods, yes, African traditions, many of them believe that human beings are the conduit for God. Okay. And Ifa, and a lot of people in Ifa don't even realize that, and they read the Odu because they're practicing as Christians. O'Connor and Osar says, what good is the cutlass except human beings pick it up? Okay. If I had a knife here, which I don't right now, but if I had a knife here, I would show you. The knife is Ogun. Well, if I put that on the ground, is that any danger to you? No. I'm also Ogun. Am I a danger to you without that knife? Sure. I pick that knife up, am I more a danger to you? Absolutely. Because now that external goon, which is that inanimate object, and me because Ogun is a force of nature, force of iron and war. Well, now this Ogun is more dangerous because I picked it up, and I'm more dangerous because I picked it up.
Exactly.
That's the reality of Ogun. Okay, you get in a car accident, you're not yelling some spirit save me, you're yelling somebody save me, because you know God is coming to you in a human being. What good is a cutlass except human beings pick it up? Now, so most polytheistic religions believe in one creator. You're talking about God, G-O-D, the capital G-O-D. They're talking about the creator. So African religions throughout, they'll hold up one finger in Nkulu Kulu, right? Mbelingo, Olodumare, right? Olodumare, depending where you're from. So if Yoruba land says Olodumare, the other cultures say Olodumare, okay? But they're holding up the one finger. That means it's the one God. They believe the one creator, right? So they believe in one creator, but in most African traditional spiritual practices, it's believed that the creator is aloof from or beyond the comprehension of human beings, right? They're either aloof from us, they're concerned, or beyond our comprehension, you know. And I've always thought of it as arrogant. The creator of all things, ants, the wind, the forces of nature, right? Which is given to us that we deal with. But all things on all planets in all galaxies in this universe, when we cry out and I say, "Oh, I'm Awesome Ojetades, creator of the heavens, the earth, the wind, the ants, the dirt, the octopi, on all planets, everywhere in the universe, all these galaxies. I know you hear me, one person out of billions on Earth, which is just one planet. I know you hear me. Bless me. Give me some money." I mean, come on, man. That shit is so ridiculous. And people get so scared. Me and a friend were talking one time. We were joking. I got in a revolver. Bought a revolver of another friend, right? And he said, "Man, that's a big gun, boy. You can shoot a long way with that." I said, "Yeah, watch this." And I act like I was shooting up in the sky. I said, "Here he comes." Oh, it falls on the earth. He said, "Man, I'm getting away from you. I'm getting away from you. A lightning bolt gonna hit you. You can get in trouble joking about God." I said, "Man, ain't nothing gonna happen to me. Come on, lightning bolts. Lightning bolt." No lightning bolt came down.
I don't know if I'll be.
But please, I wasn't worried about that because the creator God ain't concerned about what some silly ass dude is talking about shooting up in the sky and some giant being falling down and hitting the earth. Oof.
Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, it's ridiculous. So, Baba, you're with a tool. Oh, no, you ain't calling my wife a tool, are you?
No,
Mason?
You talking about when you talking about.
I'm just joking around. He said, "Yeah, Bo, what?" You said, "Yeah, okay, well, we'll square up later, Eugene." I know he got me just. So anyway, as similar, so that belief in God, the one God, yes, but he's believed to be aloof. Okay. Now, human beings and what outsiders call worship of multiple gods is actually lauding of the forces of nature. He said, "I'm without it, Baba. You're without a tool." Okay, there you go. So God is not all that petty. At least I don't think. right? So when we laud the forces of nature, and the forces of nature for the Yorubas, wind, earth, wind, and fire, water, love, war, iron. I know, I know, I'm just joking, Eugene Mason.
Yeah, we're joking.
There are different things that most people in the Western culture would consider force of nature. We consider love and beauty a force of nature. And if you've ever encountered it, you know it's a force of nature. It's a force of nature that can move other forces. There's a story about Ogun terrorizing the town. They couldn't get rid of him. Oshun says, well, I'll get rid of him.
Yes.
He would come to bathe every morning at this river. She made sure she was there at the river. Bathing with bees
honey
around her waist, and the bees fell on her butt. And then she had honey dripping down on her butt. And she walked out of the river with the honey dripping off her butt. And Ogun followed her out the water. And she kept walking. And Ogun kept walking, looking at that booty with the honey dripping off. And followed her out the town. What's the lesson in that? You have somebody, a warrior like that, the best way to deal with them is to not be aggressive or
deal with it with love.
Deal with them with love, deal them with sensuality.
And you don't have to always meet,
force with force.
Force with force, with love.
Right. So that's the lesson in that. And that's why beauty and love are forces of nature. And it's also a lesson that warriors like sweet things.
Yes.
So most warriors have a sweet tooth. Because we like sweet things. All right. So as civilizations emerged in Africa, spiritual paths began to become more human-centric. Some civilizations had a mix of animal and human worship. The Kemetic, also known as Egyptian gods, represented the powerful traits of both animals and men. The Ifa Orisha represent the forces of nature and how those forces of nature are expressed in human beings. So you'll see anthropomorphic animals in some of the Odu, things of that nature. It'll say, the magnanimous crocodile in Shio Odu is doing something, so it's talking about you. Okay. And Iyanifa named Shango Bukola, this is giving you an example, is called Iya Shango by many because she clearly displays the traits of the Orisha Shango. Okay. Other civilizations like Greece and Rome focus more on human deities. Thor, who was Hercules, some Greece and Rome, Thor, Hercules, Odin, people like that, Poseidon. So they were human looking, right? Most polytheistic, they could turn into birds and stuff, but they were human for the most part. With a bunch of power, but human. Most polytheistic pantheons have a mixture of both male and female gods, but they can manifest in any gender. Thus, there are men that are Ogun and women that are Ogun, right here.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm Ogun.
Right. So, our names, we have Ogun names.
And there are women that are Oshun. There are also men
that are Oshun. Yes. Had a student that a family, a couple, were getting into it. She gets divination, he gets divination. He was all the time, I'm Ogun and so, I'm Ogun, and I can tear it up, and I blah, blah, blah. Did divination, find out she's Ogun and he's Oshun. Oshun is beauty and love. But Oshun is the first revolutionary. We talk about African spiritual resistance. We talk about revolution. Oshun is the first revolutionary. There was, when the Urumale, which is like the primal forces of nature, came to Earth, there were several. One was a woman, several men, one woman, Oshun.
And they were trying to get things done.
They were trying to get things done to make the world habitable for human beings. They were trying to do a lot. They would not allow Oshun in their meetings to plan how to do this. So no woman allowed here. They wouldn't allow. So Oshun began to throw chinks in the armor. She began to throw monkey wrenches in the programs. Shit started failing. They couldn't get nothing done. So the Orisha, the Rumale, who are the primal Orisha, they run to Olodumare, the creator, and say, we can't get anything done.
Nothing is moving forward.
Right? Everything's failing that we're trying to do. Olodumare says, did you include Oshun? The Orisha said, we did not include Oshun. Olodumare said, you'd best go and include Oshun. Yes, as you say. So they
include this one woman of all these brothers.
All the men. So they include Oshun. And when they apologize to her for not including her, and then they include her. They're told to apologize, right, by Olodumare also. They apologize, they include her, and then everything begins to go right. So Oshun fought the patriarchy.
And she still fights on behalf of women.
Right, against the patriarchy.
For our rights.
And for men, when you're talking about revolution. A lot of people are confused about that. They would go, but they're spiritual, they would give their offerings to Ogun. You want to do that too, because you want to be able to throw down if you got to throw down and do it well, right? But it's Oshun who's going to bring revolution. The spirit of beauty and love, not the spirit of iron and war. You say, well,
although the spirit of iron and war can do that.
You need to do it, but the spirit of iron and war is bringing war. Right. But to bring revolution, yes. You have to have Oshun. Now, you say, well, what beauty and love? I watched V for Vendetta. In V for Vendetta, he, asked this woman to dance with him. And she says, you dance? He said, what's a revolution without dancing? Okay. What that's telling you is, and also when you take culture out of revolution, because all you're just academic. That's all you see value in. Let's read these books. Let's talk. Let's spit these facts, but I have no culture. I have no art. I have no music. That's not important. You think that's not important? When people used to meet at coffee houses, they met there to bring about revolutions, and that's why in England they made it illegal to have coffee houses. Well, I know because I've trained in making espressos and things of that nature, right? Well, it's an art form. It's not important. It's an art form. The Black Panthers, they use art. They use art to help fuel revolution. Music has long done it. Can't deny it. And so that is when we're talking about beauty and love. Also, beauty and love sparks bringing about babies. And you need babies to grow into men and women to fight revolution. Yes. So it's all very important, okay? Revolution is beauty and love, absolutely. You'll be like the Soviets without beauty, music. I would think maybe the Soviets have it. We just don't know. I don't know, but yes, that stereotypical what you see is just everything really gray. Your world's black and white. Sucks. Okay. And war is fought on many fronts. In fact, war is fought on other fronts before the battlefield. If you go right to the battlefield, you're probably going to lose because you should have fought in other places too, including the music, including dance and artwork. And all right, so
And even doing dance and all that stuff, those are ways that the Orisha come down.
exactly, right.
That's how
Another
they
thing.
get
That's how
message
right,
us and communicate with us. That's another way of that happening.
and you call them down through that too,
Yes.
right? It is believed.
Drumming, dancing.
It's believed the African form of polytheism developed from animism around 3000 BCE, most likely in Congo, but most certainly in Central Africa. So polytheism comes from animism around 3000 BC. Animism, as Yalamun told us, 100,000 years, 100,000 BCE. And this is 3000 BC, 3000 before Common Era. So a long time later, but okay, those are polytheistic traditions and religions.
Monotheism is the belief in one God. Some of the first major monotheistic religions were Judaism and atheism. Atheism didn't last very long, and Judaism was the religion of the Hebrew tribe, not anything mainstream. Christianity was the first monotheistic religion to be followed in a massive scale. There is much debate over the Christianity. There is much debate over how Christianity started and if Jesus actually existed. The first century CE was a very well documented time period in history. Yet there is no mention of Jesus in the Roman historical texts. The first written account about the life of Jesus weren't made until several decades after his purported death. That's our history, y'all. During this time, there were a large number of cults in the Europe and that believed in similar ideas: gods of light, a duality of the God of good and evil, gods of redemption and deliverance. Some say that Christianity was a cult cooked up in Alexandria, Greece. Christianity's status as a monotheistic religion is also debatable, since God exists as a trinity and that many pagan gods were converted into saints. Whatever the history of Christianity really is, the religion did become important when Rome converted in the 4th century CE. However, Christianity came into Rome as an alien influence and the empire collapsed over 80 years
Only
after,
80 years.
The empire collapsed only 80 years after its conversion. The monotheistic religion of Islam that evolved out of Christianity was much more successful in its attempt to unify diverse people. Before the establishment of the Islamic religion, the Arabian Peninsula was a place of warring tribes. But once these tribes embraced the religion by the 6th century CE, they stopped fighting each other and decided to fight other people instead, which they should have. The religion of Islam took a large amount of territory in a short time. There was a degree of tolerance allowed for the religious minorities, Jews, Christians, Sabians, and Zoroastrianism, as long as these people paid a tax. It wasn't ideal, and many of the people lived as a second class citizen. But there was enough tolerance for diverse people to live together in a relative sanity. Judaism was developed from the Canaanites. Polytheism in 900 BCE, Christianity developed from Judaism in 30 CE, and Islam developed the Christianity in 622
It
CE.
developed from Christianity. So, yes, Judaism came from Canaanite polytheism.
Yes.
So its root is in polytheism. In 900 BC, Christianity developed from Judaism, which came from Canaanite polytheism in 30 CE, and Islam developed from Christianity in 622. CE. Okay. Common Era, when we're talking about CE, BCE, Common Era, CE, and before Common Era, BCE are year notations for the Gregorian calendar, which is the calendar that we commonly use. Okay. That's the world's most widely used calendar. When I say we use, I'm talking about the world. Mostly uses the Gregorian calendar. Common Era and before the Common Era are alternatives to the original Anno Domini, which is AD. You know, no, that's the year of our Lord, Anno Domini.
Right.
So right now it's 2023 AD according to the Christian way, right? We would say 2023 CE, Common Era.
Right.
And then the Christian way also is before Christ, BC. Okay. The two notation systems that are numerically equivalent. So 2023 CE and AD 2023 is the same thing, right? 400 BCE and 400 BC are the same year. Okay. The expression can be traced back to 1615 when it first appears in a book by Johannes Kepler as the Latin Annus Are Nostre Vulgaris, year of our Common Era, and to 1635 in English as Vulgar Era. The term Common Era can be found in English as early as 1708 and became more widely used in the mid-19th century by Jewish religious scholars. Since the later 20th century, BCE and CE have become popular in academic and scientific publications because BCE and CE are religiously neutral terms. You can imagine Jewish scholars were not going to be talking about before Christ.
Right.
They don't believe in Christ.
Right.
Christ talking about Jesus, right? They don't believe in that. So that was not, well, Anno Domini, the year of our Lord. No, they're not going to use that. Okay. So BCE and CE is what we'll be using here. And we encourage you to use that as well, even if you're a Christian, because it's more scholarly to use BCE and CE. Okay. So that's pretty much it. We start with animism, okay, which is worship of spirits. Sometimes, worshiping, thinking the rock. And rock may have a spirit, but thinking the rock's a god. And, well, we began to go deeper into our studies of things, and now you have polytheism come about, right? Out of animism. Okay. And then from polytheism comes monotheism. So monotheism has been on this planet less time, also has its root in those traditions that believe in the forces of nature, God, and things of that nature. So, well, how in this short time did monotheism propagate? And no, let's not go talking about because God gave Adam a mission to multiply, replenish the earth, and stop that. Stop. And if you do deal with that, Adam's job is to multiply, replenish the earth. That means replenish. That means the population here already. It means he's the first. That Adam was the first person. It means that Adam had a job to multiply, spread.
But it's impossible for himself is if Balaam was just still here and he was producing, we are both producing, then it has to be some other people here. Because in the Bible it's supposedly a taboo to, mix with your own children.
And that's what it'd have been.
Right. If it was just
Adam, Eve, and their children.
Right. It would have been
the children, Cain, Abel, and Seth.
Right.
It's strange. And even in that, so they didn't have no sisters, so it's just Eve. So her own son tearing off, and her husband tearing off. And then, what is she, a roach? Because how she populating the earth, just one person.
Right.
She's getting pregnant, stay pregnant, forever, like a roach. Once they pregnant once, they pregnant forever and just giving birth to millions. Come on, man. And human beings don't even have a long enough lifespan. It'd have been, if that was the case, just disregarding the grossness of incest, if she was lucky and had 20 children, it'd have been like 24 people, 25 people on Earth, the whole planet.
Right. And it would have been difficult to be as
That
many people.
the planet would have died. 25 people on this. So, come on, y'all. So, anyway.
Things have to make sense, people.
Yes. Yes. It has to. Now, last week, we were talking about some things after, and didn't realize we weren't even being, recorded. The importance of knowing the history of how these things came about. One is important to know history. History best rewards research, and now I will say that is often given, the credit for that saying is often given to Malcolm X, but I want you to know that actually comes from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Malcolm X got that from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If we're going to be right and exact on certain things, when we're talking about history, whatever we feel about Elijah Muhammad, that is actually where that statement comes from, just so you know. Okay. But it is true. History best rewards, and there's a whole longer statement with that, but history best rewards our research. Okay. It is great. When people try to debate with me, religion, I had a guy come to my house one morning, 6 a.m. Adam Muhammad. I used to have the name Adam Muhammad. Adam Muhammad, Adam Muhammad, Adam Muhammad, Adam Muhammad. I'm like, who in the is this calling me? Look out the window, it's this dude. I won't say his name. Hopefully he's educated himself, grown. I look, I tell her, that's goddamn so-and-so. So I get to, let me see what he wants. So I want to talk to you, Adam Muhammad, about the Bible. As I say, the Bible. I said, what? You can wait until later? It's important at 6:30 in the morning. So I said, let's walk. So we're walking. Did you walk with us when we went? Yeah, so we walking. I said, he went on talking about the Bible, this. Give me Bible. I said, what if I tell you I don't give a fuck about the Bible? He was shocked. I said, what do you think? I'm gonna die and get cursed, holy curses or something. I didn't even heard of holy curses. I'm gonna get God got time to curse me because I said that I don't give a fuck about the Bible. I said again, I don't give a fuck about the Bible. I said, but
you have to explain.
But I care about you. I said, so if you are giving me a word and you want me to come to what you do, and he wasn't a Christian, he's a Hebrew Israelite. He said, you want me to come to what you believe? Talk to me without the Bible.
How do you explain it?
Because I don't give a fuck about the Bible. Now, teach me without your Bible what you're trying to teach me right now. You say, because the Bible say, well, fuck the Bible. What do you say? What does nature say? What does history say? I said, until then, don't you ever come back to my house at 6 in the goddamn morning trying to teach me something. Like you think I'm gonna get this revelation and I'm just gonna come over to Hebrew Israelites. I'm gonna be a Hebrew Israelite because you woke me up. I said, shit, if I believe what you said, you got me up at 6:30 in the morning, dude. I'm really pissed off.
Anybody gonna be upset about that?
But since you had the heart to walk all the way over here and try to teach me, I'm willing for you to teach me, but don't waste my goddamn time. Don't tell me about the Bible. I've read the Bible 3 times, backward and forward. And I'm telling you, I don't give a fuck about the Bible. Now, when it comes to teaching people, so now teach me without that. I said, oh, don't get emotional. You're trying to teach me. Oh, poop. Yeah, you feel sorry for him. Don't try to teach me. Don't get emotional. Just teach me. He couldn't. He couldn't teach. And I put that out to all of you, or that challenge to you. If you're trying to teach what it is that you believe, and it's got the Odu says, well, Joe across the street don't know the Odu. So I got to be able to teach without talking about the Odu. There's certain parts I can pull out. I love talking about O'Connor and Osai. I don't have to deal with the Odu. I can just talk about iron and the reality of it.
We can't exist without these elements.
When people come to my class, there's all kinds of Ifa in that, but I'm not teaching Ifa. I'm teaching you martial arts. And I told my students, there's not one student who's come to me that has not at least explored Ifa. They say, what? How do you recruit? I don't recruit. It's the knowledge that surrounds them as they begin to learn how to simplify things. In martial arts, they begin to simplify everything. And that will lead them to even the way they think, was at a event and they singing, give me that old time religion, give me that old time religion, give me that old time religion. Is good enough for me. And I got to speak. It's good enough for my grandmother, good enough for my grandfather, it's good enough for me. Well, I had to speak after that. I didn't know what I was going to say. That gave me what I was going to talk about. I said, well, how many of you all here know that old time religion? I said, no, because your parents were crying, give me that old time religion.
And they were Christians at the
They
time.
were Christians crying, give me that old time religion, not Christianity. They said, it's good for my grandfather. It's good enough for me. If they had Christianity, so they wasn't saying, give me that old time religion, and they already a Christian, they wasn't talking about Christianity.
Right.
That song, when it was written, people knew.
That is something else.
Exactly. So that was my lecture. What's that something else? Who's that creeping in the window? Right? Somebody now. Me. I'm keeping it. But I know, spot. Right? So we commit ourselves to study as opposed to just emotional rhetoric. I've had people get really emotional about their traditions and they arguing, and told you about the woman cursing me out on the bus. And all that said, all that cursing, all that hoopling, hoppling, I believe in God, don't believe in God, blah, your religion sucks, blah, blah, blah. Our people are still in a hell of a state, got the enemy's foot on our neck. So what's going to set us free? Whatever it is you practicing, you best also have within that practice a form of spiritual resistance. Otherwise, why you here? What you doing? What you doing? If this isn't going to benefit yourself, your family, and your people, what are you doing? Right? No matter what you call your tradition, no matter what your title is, no matter what your teacher's title is, what is this going to do for you and your people? And if you can't find nothing in that, you might need to find something else. I don't care what you call it. Like I said, if you're an atheist, but your atheism ain't doing shit for your people, you might need to find something else. If you're practicing Ifa, but your Ifa ain't doing shit for your people, you probably need to practice something else. Your Christianity, your Islam, whatever it is. And the reason why you ain't doing shit for your people, because you ain't. You got to do something for your people.
Your family,
Because what good is cutlass except human beings pick it up? What good is anything except human beings pick it up? That means pick it up and do something with that shit.
Yes.
Okay, doesn't matter.
You have
Martial
to pass
arts,
on something.
your business, none of if you ain't picking it up and doing something with it, it's meaningless. So let's make sure as we study, we're also doing. Be practical application people. Okay. The hoodoo, yes, absolutely. I taught on hoodoo at this place. Well, just our traditions from the diaspora. And this white dude, we do hoodoo. What? I said, what? He said, yeah, we are. What do they call it? I want to call it. They call it. Well, he said hillbilly hoodoo, but the actual name was hillbilly derogatory. I think it's Appalachian witchcraft or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he said we get it from the hoodoo practitioners who would come. We go and buy things from them, things of that nature, and we pay them to come up to the mountains, stay with us for a few months, and teach us. He said they would, do this, and our ancestors sometimes would, help them hide out. They're escaping in exchange for them teaching us hoodoo. I said, interesting. White dude. So he's been all his life. He's been a hoodoo practitioner. Okay. So hoodoo, working roots, conjure, however you want to call it.
It has a place.
Within that tells you what it is. So it is the African root work in there. But they also conjure spirits. That's why it's also called conjure. Okay. They use the Bible a lot of times, particularly the Book of Psalms. Okay, for their prayers. For their prayers. Now,
some
people confuse hoodoo and voodoo. So voodoo is the New Orleans practice of the Haitian tradition called Vodou. Vodou is the Haitian practice of the Togo and Benin African tradition called Vodun. Okay, it's not Vodun, it's Vodun. And that's nasalized Vodun. So it's not Vodun, it's Vodun. Right? So Vodun from Benin, our people were snatched and brought over here. And from Benin, now the Vodun to Haiti becomes Vodou. And then Haitians were taken to New Orleans, many of them, and that became voodoo. Hoodoo is separate. It does not have its roots in voodoo, but it does have its same root in the African spiritual traditions of the continent, right? And a lot of that you'll hear them talk about Central Africa because that's where it started with animism, right? 100,000 years ago. So when you talk about Central Africa being the root of all of these things, you can hear in Vodou, they talk about Simbi. They talk about the difference of the Loa, right? And so you have the Loa, Anago, that's the Yoruba, Loa, Shango, Ogun, Ogun Farayi. They have different Ogun, right? Ogun Shango. Well, those are the ones from Yoruba land. Then you also have the Simbi, which are the ones from Central Africa. So you hear the influences, and most of them they have their influences from either Central Africa and or West Africa, particularly Yoruba land. Okay. Eugene Mason, much respect, African spiritual resistance. It's an honor to be here learning the you for your time to share. Oh, thank you. It's an honor to be here. Backwoods Hoodoo. Yes,
Yeah.
that's cool. Someone please make that movie about backwoods hoodoo. That'd be interesting. It'd be a horror show. Great knowledge today, clearing a lot of stuff up for me. Wonderful. If you have any questions, you can ask them. We're going to be bringing on guests. The first will probably be Babala named Apalabi
Well,
to teach about issue or
we plan on bringing more guests.
and yeah,
We
several
want to
guests.
try to start with a shoe,
Right.
And then go from there.
So, we'll be bringing people in to speak. I know several priests. My wife knows more priests in different traditions than I. Well, and mostly, I know folks from different traditions, and we'll be bringing some people on, who we know are knowledgeable, okay, and can deliver. Some folk we know highly knowledgeable. They don't speak much English. You be wondering, huh? What do they say, huh?
Well, even if they spoke English, it's not the way that they understand it.
What you mean? That's what I'm saying. They speak English, but it's so thick
Yeah.
with accent, you wouldn't know what they're saying. Thank you, brother and sister. Excellent program. May I ask from what text are you reading from? Reading from our notes that was made from our studies with priests. One thing that I learned, and don't get me wrong, you should be reading academic texts as you can find them. And a lot of books, there's a book by Dr. Wande Abimbola. Wande Abimbola is he's the spokesperson for Ifa, but he's a professor. He was a professor, I believe, at Yale. And so if you look up Wande, Wande, Abimbola, Abimbola, he's written several books that are great to study. One is Ifa Will Mend Our Broken World. And he's being interviewed by a Jewish scholar and answers questions, and it's beautiful. It's clear. So you be able to read his answers, and he probably has answered many questions that you may have. Okay, that's a good book. There are some other ones that are.
We'll probably get a list of them and
reading. Some are very Ifa
I do
specific.
have some books at my shop also, and maybe if not the next show, the one after that, or maybe I'll just kind of let you all see some of the books I have, and if you're interested, you feel free.
It's good to study, but I was going to say when I brought out my first book, African Martial Arts Discovering the Word Within, I was told, do not approach this as an academe. Approach this, because at first it's very academic in the way I did it, right? Approach this as a traditionalist. And this book is going to be successful. You approach it as a traditionalist. And that's what I did, and it was successful. Very. It is successful. It's just not available no more. So then I wrote the African Warriors Bible, which became more successful than that. African Warriors Bible, I dealt with. So Kalanji came up with, a lot of people think the RBG movement came up with the commandments, if you will. Kalanji created the commandments. It was FTP laws, right? And I took those laws and looked at them and said, these apply to martial arts, and they apply to prepping, survival. So let me break down how that is. And so I took each one, dealt with that, right? And it goes back to talking about revolution, dealing with culture. But so I approach my writing as a traditionalist. Uh, there are others who approach theirs as academics. Both are good. In fact, there's a great book out right now, Dr. Jared Ball's book. Okay. Um,
I like to be prepared.
Most of y'all probably know it, but so he's got the second volume in his books. In his book, well, books now. Okay, so y'all, that's a great academic text. But you know, there's a sister we know who wrote "Our Mothers, Our Powers, Our Texts."
Very good book.
Dr. Teresa Washington. And at first I was like, man, you know, it's probably gonna be boring as hell. Most books dealing with Ifa are not well written because they don't have command of the. They speak English, but they don't have command of the English language as far as writing grammar. Woo, man, this book I couldn't put it down. That's something, you know. I got my little highlighter to highlight some things. The whole damn book is pink with highlight. It was so deep. It was so deep. That's Our Mothers, Our Powers, Our Texts by Dr. Teresa, Teresa. It's not Teresa, Teresa Washington. Great book. Okay. So those are just a few of the books. We 6 minutes past, so we're gonna let you all go. I want to, you know, we keep going. We can keep talking, and it Dr. Bill, what the hell y'all doing? It's my show at 8:00. So we're gonna let you all go. But it was wonderful being here. Kevin Holmes, I like to be prepared when I encounter the doubters. Yeah, me too. Me too. I certainly will keep that in mind. I'll have good questions next time. Great. So thank you all for your time. Any questions that you may think of later, you can put them in the comments or save it till next week and we will get to it. Thank you so much.
Blessings to everybody.
Blessings. Y'all be safe out here. Our people in, you know, New York and with the East Coast, I think all the way down to Baltimore with the breathing issues and everything. Our son is in New York right now, you know, telling him to wear his gas mask. Of course, he don't want to do that. He want to look cool, but he needs to wear his gas mask. It's rough stuff out here. You know, stabbings happening. I want to say in New York, and then was another country. I got to look at it, with some stabbings in Ohio. 30 children are missing in 2 weeks. That's unheard of. Law enforcement is like, we never heard nothing like that. Yeah, me either. I think wasn't it 20 children who were taken the Atlanta child murders or less? And then John Wayne Gacy in Chicago did, you know, raped and murdered 22. This is 30, but that was over years.
Right.
This is 30 in 2 weeks, less than a month in Ohio. You say, well, I'm not in Ohio. I'm in Russia. I'm in the Ukraine. God damn it. It could meet you at your doorstep. You best be concerned about things that's happening elsewhere because it can meet you. So, you know, pray or hope for or whatever the children, and keep your children trained and keep your heads on the swivel. Stay chiseled, and may you be blessed. And us, may we be blessed to see you all next week.
Yes, sir. Everybody be safe.
Be safe. Peace. One organization targeting and concentrated area. Could be, Jadarian, because that's a lot. That's a huge number. Yeah. Think about 30 in 2 weeks. Children.
And how do children just
disappear?
Like that? It doesn't make
right.
sense.
Even abductors, they usually don't move that fast. But just, you know, stay alert, stay aware, stay awake. All right. Peace, y'all.